What does trance mean to you? Trance has been my life for the best part of 3 decades, I would say, 2.5 decades. It is my favorite of all electronic music genres, and what I think sets it apart from all the others that I still love, techno, breaks, whatever it might be, is it has a emotional melodic element which I don't feel is as potent and prevalent in other genres. So I like the energy, the power, the emotional, engaging nature of trance. And above everything else, I love the global trance community that has developed behind it. I don't think there is a genre that is as closely bonded. The trance family it really is a family, and it's an absolute privilege to be a part of it. So yeah, it's my favorite kind of music, and it will continue to be so until I take my last breath. The world is about to end and you're booking the last ever party. What DJs do you book to play? Good question. I would start with a long 6-hour set from John Digweed, building it up from very ambient to quite chugging. I would definitely have a 1999 to 2002 Paul van Dyk set in there. I would have all the DJs from Seven, plus the previous members of Seven, Asterix, Blazer, Freedom Fighters. I'd definitely have Greg Downey. And then maybe to finish, the very last thing, maybe Orbital live playing the set that they played at Glastonbury in 1995, something like that. A big emotional finale would be great. What is your greatest fear? Failure, death, being a parent. I guess anything happening to your kids, is something that constantly plays on your mind, or you're concerned about. You just want your kids to be happy and healthy throughout their lives. But I guess my biggest fear that drives me every day is a fear of failure. What is your earliest memory? I don't know how old I was, but I was very young, and I had this little pair of red Wellington boots, and I remember going into my parents lived on an old farm, and in one of the barns there was all kinds of old stuff, and as a kid you used to clamber over all these piles of crap, and I was climbing over a load of old planks of wood. I think they were maybe cladding that you put on the outside of a barn or something, and I was climbing over these, and on one of them was a big rusty nail sticking up, and I remember standing on it with my foot, and the nail just went through the boot and was sticking out the top. Yeah, I have quite a vivid memory of that. I don't know how old I was, maybe 2 or 3, something like that. Have you ever said I love you and not meant it? No, I don't think so. Not at the time of actually saying it, no. It's an incredibly important and powerful 3 words, and I think it should probably only be used when you mean it. What is your guiltiest pleasure? Definitely lying on the sofa watching box sets. And in this lockdown period, 2020 lockdown, there have been quite a few Netflix sessions, just ploughing your way through epic box sets. So I'd say that's probably my guiltiest pleasure. What is your all-time favourite movie? I'm going to have to pick 2. With Now and I, and Jaws, the original Jaws. Those 2 movies I can watch over and over and over again. In fact, another one, Me, Myself and Irene with Jim Carrey. Love that movie as well. Such a ridiculously funny storyline. Those 3 movies I can't pick. Oh well, if I had to pick one, it would be With Now and I. If you could change one thing about the world, what would you change? I would get rid of fucking coronavirus. There's all kinds of other things, famine and racism and other things that would be good to get rid of. But right now, I want to get rid of coronavirus and get back to going to clubs, festivals and parties. What is the most important lesson life has taught you? Nothing is for free, and if you don't work your nuts off, you won't get jack shit. Work hard, stay focused, and never ever give up. In a film about your life, who would play you? Jack Nicholson or Samuel L. Jackson? You're only allowed one alcoholic drink for the rest of your life. What do you choose? If I really had to make the choice, I'd probably say beer. I love a cold beer. Cold Corona on a hot summer's day is just divine. But the thought of never being able to have a glass of wine with a meal is also quite a tricky prospect to overcome. Wine or beer? I'm going to have to say beer. Coronas, lagers, love them. If you're an animal, what would you be? Great white shark or a dolphin? Actually, I think dolphins probably have a lot more fun than sharks. They seem to be always pissing about, having fun, playing. Yeah, maybe a dolphin would be quite good. But there again, I'm not really that big a fan of the sea. Maybe one of the big cats would be quite cool. I mean, a cheetah is the fastest, so you could do whatever you wanted, because if there was a bigger cat trying to get you or anything else, you could outrun them. Cheetah would be pretty cool. Just hunting shit, eating, and then doing a lot of sleeping. Maybe occasionally getting laid. That'd be great. What track from your back catalogue best defines you and your sound? Well, I am most fond from my back catalogue of the tracks that I've made on 7. Raven, Black Coffee, A Million Stars, On the Rocks, Midnight Oil. I mean, all the tracks that I've put out on 7, I think are best at defining my sound. And of them, I would say my favourite is probably... it's tough actually. It's probably A Million Stars or Mescal. One of those two. Mescal or A Million Stars. When did you last cry and why? I cried last night actually. I was watching... What were we watching? My wife and I were watching something last night. I can't remember what it was, but I definitely cried. Wow. What was it? Let me think. God, my memory is so shit. Oh yeah, it was a movie called This Is Where I Leave You. This Is Where I Leave You, I think it's called. Really cool film actually. Really enjoyed it. And yeah, I cried at a moment in that. Not a lot, just a tear. If you weren't a DJ/producer, what would you do? I would rob banks. What's your favourite country to travel in? Argentina. Argentina, followed by, I love also going to Australia, Asia. I love Asia. Food in Asia is insane. And I really quite like the Netherlands. Yeah, it has to be Argentina. I've had so many epic adventures down there, so I'd say Argentina. Top 3 trance tracks of all time. Sasha, Expander, Paul van Dyk, Tell Me Why, The Riddle, the Vandit re-edit, I think it's called. It was the version that was on, that was only ever released on vinyl. It's not available anywhere as a digital download. It's not. And then third has to be the original mix of Ipanema Girls, Second Sign. Those 3. What's the one thing in your schedule that you're most excited about? Well, at the time of recording this, I've actually got a gig in Helsinki coming up next weekend. I can't believe it. A club gig in the middle of lockdown, which I'm really excited about. And I'm hoping to God, fingers crossed, it doesn't get cancelled. I'm also very excited about an 8-hour live stream that I have coming up that I recorded. Basically, there's a warehouse just between Portsmouth and Southampton that houses all of the production for Take That, Swedish House Mafia, all these big arena tours. And I managed to blag my way in and record an 8-hour set with this insane production. So that's going to be coming out at the beginning of October. It might even be out by the time this comes out. So I'm excited about that. I'm excited about the release of my single Smile, which I think is out now by the time you've watched this. I'm excited to get back to gigging. When the fuck is that going to happen? That's what I really want. A final message for the dedicated trance fans on the Tranceportal. Big up yourselves. Tell your friends about Tranceportal. We are a global family of trance lovers like you, and we are growing bigger and bigger every day. More labels, more producers, more promoters, more brands are joining Tranceportal. The more people that join, the bigger we become, the bigger the scene becomes. That's our goal here, is to make the trance scene bigger. The guys behind Tranceportal are also the guys behind Tranceportal in Psytrance, Techno Station in Techno, and Chill Space in Chill Out. And I've partnered with them to try and create the exact same model in our world, because I think it's going to hugely benefit our scene and make it a lot bigger. So tell all your friends about Tranceportal and get them to subscribe immediately. Thanks for watching, and keep locked to Tranceportal. Ciao.